It all started when I pulled an official-looking envelope from my mailbox one crisp morning. Inside was a court order demanding I demolish my self-built, off-grid home within 72 horse-face immediate eviction and fines. I'd poured 3 years and $800,000 from my life savings into that place. A sustainable fortress with solar panels, rainwater harvesting, and eco-friendly materials that had passed every inspection with flying colors. No way was this real. My heart raced as I scanned the document. Something felt off. The signature belonged to a retired judge, Samuel T. Harlan. The font was slightly skewed, and there was a blatant typo in the docket number. Shaken, I called my old friend, Judge Robert Finley, who'd been on the bench for decades. He took one look at the scan I emailed him and laughed bitterly. "This is garbage," he said. "Fake seal, photoshopped signature, it's a forgery through and through." That confirmation hit like a gut punch. Who would go to such lengths to destroy what I'd built? I filed a fraud complaint with the Albuquerque Police Department that afternoon, my hands trembling with rage. But it didn't stop there. Attached to the order was a notice from the HOA president, Susan Hartley, threatening forced demolition if I didn't comply. She claimed my property violated obscure covenants, even though I'd grandfathered out of the HOA back in 2011. Paranoia set, I backed up every document I had, installed security cameras and motion sensors around the perimeter. This wasn't some bureaucratic mix-up. It felt like a targeted hit, someone desperate to pry me off my land. The confrontation came swiftly. Susan showed up unannounced with 2 burly code inspectors for what she called a final walkthrough. I met them at the gate, phone recording. "Credentials?" I demanded. They fumbled, flashing badges from a firm called Integrated Code Solutions. A quick search on my phone revealed the company's license had been revoked months ago. These guys were unlicensed subcontractors, nothing more than hired muscle. "You're trespassing," I barked, citing my exemption. Susan's face twisted in fury, spewing threats about liens and lawsuits, but they backed off when I mentioned calling the cops. Later, digging deeper, I confirmed the firm was a sham, linked to shady dealings across the state. Suspecting something bigger, I reached out to city planner Michael Rivera for public records. What he uncovered chilled me. 5 similar cases in the last year. Homes hit with identical forged orders, condemned, demolished, and flipped to Peak Developments LLC through HOA shell companies. I tracked down victim's a widow named Evelyn Carter, now scraping by in a rundown trailer after losing her family home, and the daughter of a deceased veteran, Thomas Reed, whose land was seized while she grieved. Their stories fueled my fire. Vulnerable people preyed upon, dreams shattered for profit. And the thread led straight back to Susan Hartley properties resold through her LLCs, with Peak Developments having tried to lowball me for my land twice before. This wasn't just fraud, it screamed racketeering. I compiled a dossier and shot it to Judge Finley, urging him to flag it as a potential RICO case. Emboldened, I met with Assistant DA Patricia Monroe, handing over my 67-page bombshell. She opened a preliminary investigation, her eyes widening at the evidence. Then I tipped off reporter Sofia Ramirez at KOB, who ran an explosive segment called Forced Out, blasting the scandal wide open. Corrupt HOAs colluding with developers to steal land from hardworking folks, all while local officials looked the other way. The public outrage was instant, but so was the backlash. An anonymous USB drive appeared in my mailbox days later, packed with HOA minutes, incriminating emails, bribe payments, and a non-compliant properties list with my name circled in red. The HOA struck back viciously. They slapped me with a bogus temporary restraining order and gag rule, plastered defamatory flyers around town calling me a squatter, an environmental fraud, and sent anonymous threats/tires, midnight calls whispering warnings. It was war now, pure and simple, exposing the ugly underbelly of suburban power grabs where the rich devoured the little guy. I lawyered up with Amanda Brooks, filing complaints against their sleazy counsel and prepping a massive counterclaim. Sophia's follow-up aired victim testimonies, including an affidavit from an ex-employee of that fake inspection firm, spilling how they fabricated violations for kickbacks. The DA escalated, referring it to the FBI for interstate wire fraud, forged federal docs, and full-blown racketeering. Meeting those agents felt like a thriller movie. They traced financial trails crossing state lines, confirming the sham firm and offshore accounts. Raids hit Susan's properties and peak developments like lightning. They arrested paralegal Mark Donovan and partner Derek Vance on the spot, hauling out boxes of evidence. The HOA board crumbled, resignations poured in, and Treasurer Gary Thompson flipped, providing memos on a target list of properties to seize for redevelopment profits. At the preliminary hearing, prosecutors laid it all bare: forged signatures, coerced demolitions, millions laundered. Victims delivered gut-wrenching impact statements. Evelyn sobbing about her lost memories, Thomas's daughter raging at the betrayal of a system meant to protect vets. The judge didn't hold back. He voided all seizures, ordered $3.2 million in restitution, indicted Susan, Derek, and Mark, and slapped the HOA under receivership. Susan slunk into house arrest, her empire frozen. She eventually pleaded no contest, 18 months in prison, plus looming civil suits that could bankrupt her. Derek snagged an immunity deal but got state probation, while Mark sang like a bird about operations in other states. The HOA dissolved, assets liquidated to compensate victims. Evelyn bought a cozy new home. Thomas's daughter reclaimed her father's land, vowing to build anew. My home stood tall, a symbol of defiance. I started a YouTube channel diving into sustainable design and the dark side of HOA abuses, warning others of these predatory schemes. And on my gate, a stark sign: protected by law and vigilance, trespassers will be prosecuted. Justice moved slow, deliberate, but it crushed the corrupt. In a world where greed masquerades as governance, resilience isn't just survival, it's the spark that ignites accountability, no matter how controversial the fight.